Welcome back to Welsh Miniature Board Gamer, and today we're going to have an unboxing and review of these Wargames Atlantic Civilian Survivors #1, the men's set. So this is for under their Pulp Adventures category on their website, and you get enough for the 24 multi-part 28mm figures, etc. So I'm assuming there'll be a women's one coming soon, seeing that this one says #1 men. So the box, yeah, is okay. It's nothing particularly great, art-wise, but it does the job. Flipping it over, I do like the way you can see on the right side of the box, there is these banners or posters that you can put on to the placards, etc., which is really quite good, using some of the cardboard to good effect here, that you could stick them onto the protesters sticks, etc. So this box set will be able to make survivors, rioters, protesters, and maybe armed civilians, etc., which is kind of cool. It covers all the bases that you're gonna need them for. So the plastic is the usual sort of plastics that you're used to from Wargames Atlantic, Games Workshop, Oathmark, that sort of, plastic. Is hard plastic. So you get 3 of the little sprues, which have got all the weapons and such, and 4 of the larger sprues, which have got the bodies, heads, and more the civilian looking arms. So first of all, we are going to have a look at this larger of the 2 sprues. Now, on the sprue, you got hundreds of heads. Not literally, obviously. But you got over 40 heads on here, going from cowboy hats, beanie hats, bear heads, balaclavaed. There's some with bandanas pulled over their faces. We've got running arms here that you can see, so they're bare-handed, in sort of a running motion or a protesting waving of the hands looking sort of positioning. So we've got extra heads on the sides of the sprue. It's just sort of sprinkled about everywhere. Then we've got 6 bodies, kind of in, I would say, casual wear more than business suits, etc. This is one of the sort of holding a plank of wood which you can attach the signs to, or you can just have them wielding a 2x4 and swinging it around like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So yeah, looking at the details of it, yeah, they're nice and crisp. There's not too much detail on them, which, is something I quite like. It's a lot of rather open spaces, which you can do with as you will. Which, yeah, I like that. They're not carrying pouches upon pouches, and their keychains are hanging down from their waists, etc. They're quite plain looking. So we've got baseball bats, cricket bats, like I said, these 2x4s. We've got broken bottle. Very sort of, urban unrest style. We've got a lot of running arms, or, walking arms, if you will. And then a ton more heads on the other side of the sprue. Ranging from, screaming, running heads, to more protesting, and up to no good ne'er-do-well type heads. So this one I would call, is the more armed, sort of specialist weapon sprue. So we've got a bunch of these cradling hands, for holding the weapon in their left arm. We've got double-barreled shotgun barrels, which will be attached to some of the shotguns. We have a cricket bat. We got an AR-15, a Uzi or Uzi, however you want to pronounce it, a Magnum, another cricket bat, shotgun, hunting rifle, another hunting rifle, a cradle arm, 2 lots of machetes, which is kind of nice. So we've got a shotgun. We have another shotgun. This is the arm that will go with the double barrel shotgun. So yeah, it's kind of the breech, so you can have it with the breech open or closed. We've got some more cradling arms here. We got another Magnum, another shotgun, like that one. We got AR again. We got a Glock, another Glock, and a Uzi. So yeah, we got loads of different weapons, you know, of different small arms that you can have your crews or bands or whatever survivors armed up with. So these are some that I've put together before I've painted them, so you can kind of see how they go. Of course, Wargames Atlantic don't give you stands with their packs, so yeah, you will have to get your own bases, but that's not too hard. It's just gluing them down to the base. I do kind of like puddle bases. I never used to, but actually I do like them now because I can get a nice contact point. So trying to glue feet just to a base can be a little bit problematic, but yeah, they stick down okay. Just you have to be a bit more gentle with them. So those two were more sort of unarmed. This guy has got his 2x4, rocking and causing mayhem, maybe for good or for bad, against zombies or against corrupt governments, maybe. I don't know. But you could also stick one of the placards on it, so, you know, it can be demonstrating something. So he could be a demonstrator. Then this guy is kind of a biker-looking dude with the Uzi, kind of waving it like, you know, 80s style around. I will paint some of these up now in a bit, and you'll see them painted up. I just thought I'd show you before I get any paint on them what they look like and kind of what kind of options you get with them. So this one, obviously a bank robber or something, because he has his balaclava on, carrying a Glock, equivalent to a Glock. But yeah, the balaclava faces are okay. You know, you can see some details on them, but as a balaclava is probably meant to be, it does sort of conceal the features and doesn't give you a lot to look at. So this guy has his bandana pulled up over his lower half of his face while wielding a shotgun and sort of running through the streets, if you will, or preparing to do some heroics or villainy. I didn't notice before that they do have is it called excuse me, I don't know my Jewish headwear, the kapur? Something like that, on top of his head, which I didn't notice actually quite a few of the heads do have. So if you wish to make some sort of Jewish style miniatures, you could use those heads. So first one I got painted up is this Mr. T inspired miniature with his baseball bat and broken bottle. He's got his leather bomber jacket and blue jeans, and I do really like how they've taken paint, like I said, very sort of plain but in a good way. You know, they're not carrying an awful lot of things which make them easily distinguishable, because, you know, if it, say, had a certain type of backpack on, you would recognize that miniature throughout the entire, you know, if you had 4 of the same miniature, you'd think, oh, that's that backpack. But in this, they're generic enough that you don't pick them out very easily. So this is one of the running survivors. I do want to start using more survivors in my games, you know, just randomly running around, getting in the way and making a nuisance of themselves, or maybe you need to rescue them in a mission, etc. You know, really good ideas, I think, for having just general populace around. This guy is, you know, a Texan used car dealership, maybe, you know. He's got his big 10-gallon hat, he's got his Magnum and his machete while wearing his jeans and nice pressed shirt. Yeah, really like this dude, got a lot of character. Yeah, I can picture him chasing someone out of his used car dealership, waving his gun around and swinging his machete. So this I would consider an old man Wick with his AR-15. Yeah, it shows that you can have them a bit more armoured and, you know, using a bit more heavy weaponry. So yeah, I do like that, and the M16 or AR-15, M4, whatever you want to call them, does look, you know, like you would imagine and how they should look. Yeah, really nice. Really enjoyed painting these miniatures. Another civilian running in panic. I do like the way that, you know, you can position their arms so they're flailing around or they're mid-driving through the run, etc. Really enjoyed these miniatures. I think Wargames Atlantic have really stepped their game up lately. Yeah, I can't think of a kit that I haven't liked recently, and that's really high praise for them, really. So this is an old guy running. I do, like I say, I want to have more civilians, so I'm going to try and... I'm probably not going to kit bash these miniatures too much because there's a lot of options for what they are, and I like them as they are, which is a testament to Wargames Atlantic to make it that I don't even want to kit bash them because I like the options I've got. So then we've got the Mohawk Punk with his red Mohawk and Uzi. With his sort of army surplus jumper that he's got on and his brown trousers. Yeah, I really like the way he's sort of stalking or marching through the streets. Then we've got this guy who I call Old Man Lucas. Kind of looks like the Stranger Things lad in that, just all grown up with his hunting rifle. And yeah, again, brilliant. It's good that they do have some obvious Afro-Caribbean faces and heads to go with, you know, more Caucasian, more usual sort of what we expect from these sort of miniatures. Now, this is the latest one I'm working on. I really like the way he turned out with his baseball cap. You know, could be a farmer, could be a trucker, you know, but he has his breech-loading double-barreled shotgun, which... yeah, I really like that. I think he looks the part, and he looks like he could be equally a zombie survivor or, you know, surviving an invasion, maybe miniature or something along those lines. So this is one of the first guys I showed you painted up, so like a biker gang dude with his sunglasses, shaved head, big beard, and he's got the Disturbed, I forget the name of their logo person, but him on the back, which was my attempt at painting him anyway, and he's wielding a Uzi, just spraying willy-nilly. Then we have this one with the bandana pulled up over his face, and he's wielding his pump-action shotgun. Like I said, again, he's wearing his little hat on the top of his head, which, like I said, I didn't even notice until I had actually started to... once I glued them together, I noticed that they were actually wearing those things, so, yeah. Got a dude with his balaclava on, a bank robber maybe. Definitely up to no good. Maybe not so keen on the colours I picked for him, but, you know, that's my mistake, really. They're just too bright and don't really fit in with that miniature. So here is the protester waving his fist at, you know, whatever injustice he wants to spout about. But yeah, really like him. Really impressed. I do like the amount of heads that you get and the amount of sort of variation you can turn them from, like fighting people to just being, you know, protesters, what have you. So this guy, yeah, I decided to keep him just with the 2x4 as a weapon, marching along, and yeah, looks like he's gonna protect his store or something, you know, something. He doesn't look like a particularly evil guy. He looks more like a, you know, chase you out of his shop waving his stick. So if I bring back Old Running Man and we get some size comparisons. So this is a Stargrave soldier, mercenary, crewman, something like that, kit with the automaton's arm. But yeah, fits perfectly into size there. I think they are absolutely identical sizing. So that's brilliant. That's what we want to see. Now, this is a Reaper. Now, Reaper's size of their miniatures can creep around all sorts of places. As you see, this guy looks huge compared to him, but he's more like a 32mm than a 28mm. Then we got a Zombicide, first edition, Survivor. I think that's perfectly in scale. He's a bit skinnier, but, you know, apart from that, I don't think there's anything obviously out of size proportion-wise. This is the Wargames Foundry. No, this is the Foundry Street Violence range. So he's quite tall, but there's nothing that I would say he couldn't fit in with the same scale of miniatures. This is another Reaper from their pin-up range, so Candy, I think her name is. And again, perfect sizing. Stargrave metal miniature. Yep, you know, maybe slightly taller, but nothing that's really noticeable. Probably the one that most people think is the Wargames Factory Survivors. Like you see, they're slightly smaller, but they're okay. They're not bad scale. They're just slightly more petite, more human proportion, not so heroic proportion, I would say. But yeah, they would fit together perfectly fine if you were wondering what these two Survivor kits would look like next to one another. So that's it. That's what I think of those. They're really good. Until next time, it's goodbye from me, Welsh Miniature Board Game.